Welcome back to j.p. Sports Talks, episode number 18, or
Either
14.
17 or 8. Or
Whichever.
14. What did you say? What did
Um,
you say?
welcome back, though. Today we're talking about NFL.
Yes,
We're
sir.
just covering news. This one's going to be a shorter episode, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. I've heard just quick something before we go into the news. I've heard people say like, "Oh, I wish YouTube had had where you could go off the app and like listen to the podcast, but you can't. What you can do is if you're on your phone, like go into YouTube and then just set it down like this, and it'll still play even when it goes to sleep mode. So you could just set it down and listen while doing other things.
Yeah.
That's what I do with After the Whistles podcast. Check them
I
out
listen,
in the
yeah.
description.
Guys, you guys need to start, guys, really show him some love. He's getting, 2 views within, a day. And I'm like, how does this only have 2 views? This is fire. Now, I don't always have time to listen to them right away, but I have listened to everyone except his most recent. So,
Yeah,
just
his
check him out, guys. Really, if you like football and you like us, but you are not really an NBA or an MLB guy, go check him out. And then, but still listen to our stuff too, including our NBA and MLB videos. But go check him out too.
Correct. Like and subscribe. But let's get right into it.
Let's get
First
right
one I want
into
to
it.
talk about is Steelers loss to Washington. I was a
That this
big fan
week.
of the Steelers saying, "Oh," and to the Bills, so they've lost.
Oh yeah, they're
But I was saying how, oh, they're the best team in the nation
not
because
anymore.
they haven't lost yet, and it's hard to win in the NFL. And apparently, they just had an easy schedule. They lost to Washington. They lost to Buffalo. Now look where they are. I mean,
Are they
it's
now?
they're not
10
top
and
in the league anymore.
11 and 2.
Top
Yeah.
in the NFC. So
That Chiefs team, man, they are wow. That they almost did lose to Miami,
mhm.
but losing to Miami isn't it like something to laugh over now. Miami's good. We don't know I don't know why, but Miami's good. Um, they're in the race for the playoffs. If they were in the NFC, they'd probably almost be a lock for the playoffs by now, weirdly enough. But that's just not how things go. The Ravens are in the AFC, the Browns. You've got, obviously, Chiefs, Steelers. You've got Titans. You've got Colts. You've got Bills. You've got Jets. You've got Bengals.
The
You
Chargers,
got Kansas
the
City. Even
Jaguars.
even even Las Vegas is in the hunt. Like, there's a bunch of teams. Denver hasn't been eliminated quite yet, and neither has New England. So
Yeah.
something to look at there. Like, if the Ravens go like, what are they now? They're 12. They've got 4 games left. So if they win today, which they are winning right now, they'll be 8-5. They were to finish off the year 1-2, they would be 9-7. If New England finishes off the year 3-1, they'd be 9-7. So, you never know what could happen. But this year, it's what, a 7-team on each side playoff?
Yeah, they expanded the playoffs, right?
Kansas City has clinched their division already. Pittsburgh has not. Cleveland, if they can find out how to win this game against the Ravens, I believe it's 28-14 right now. I think a Cleveland-Pittsburgh playoff game, or even I don't know if they have any more games left against each other, but I think that could be really good. Like a new rivalry, even though there are some rumors that OBJ is going to be out of Cleveland. I mean, what a career OBJ has had. Not in terms of, he's been all over the place, but I just realized Washington is ahead of the Giants now. What? But all we need to do, all the Giants need to do. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but all the Giants need to do is tie the football team, because they beat the football team twice, and since both teams beat the Steelers, and since in 2018 the Steelers beat the Chiefs, the Giants are better than the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are the best, or the Giants are the best team in football.
What did you say?
What did you say?
Well, wrong.
What do you mean? That's not wrong.
The Giants with Colt McCoy is the best team. No, but on a serious note,
The defense, though.
are a lock for the playoffs. I think they're 12-1. I think.
Chiefs. They've already clinched their division, so yeah.
Yeah. All they're fighting for is the first round bye and home field advantage throughout that side of the playoffs, as there is no more 2-team bye. It's just the 1 seed gets home field and a bye, which is even more. I mean, it's not home field isn't as big this year because no fans, but definitely that bye week is something that every team wants. As you hit my favorite team coming up is definitely the Dolphins. They have like Tua, and they have like 3 picks in next year's first round. So they're just going to keep adding and adding. They're kind of doing what OKC is doing. They're just a bit further
Yeah.
down the road. They have a bunch of picks. They trade
I
away
don't-
all the guys for picks.
Yeah. I don't know why the Dolphins are good, you know. They have a plus 85. I almost said run differential. Man, I'm into baseball, but they have an 85 differential, a plus 85, which is amazing when you think about it. A team like the Bills, they're 10-3. They have a plus 38 differential. The Browns 9-3, negative 15. Let's see. The Raiders are a winning team. They're negative 41. The Giants, I have a negative 53. I mean, the Giants, the best team in football. Even the Packers only have a plus 87. So, you know, that they're scoring enough to, I feel like I already said run differential, but they're scoring enough to get that themselves to the playoffs. They don't have much talent on the team though. They have Tua. Devontae Parker's good, but he hasn't had his breakout season yet, and it's not going to be this season. So, you know, there's some things there, and I don't think they can win. I don't think they can get out of the first round in the playoffs if they get there. But, you know, they might make it there. So,
Yeah, I do like the Dolphins this year, especially upcoming. Another team that's like them is the Los Angeles Chargers. Kind of weird saying Los Angeles still. I still think San Diego, but
unfortunately, the Chargers are eliminated. But,
you're right. But I saw a stat, I believe it was last week, that there are 2 teams in top 10 of both offense and defense that's the LA Rams and the LA Chargers, but the LA Chargers are like 4-7.
they're 4-9. You know, I think it's just the stadium. It's
um,
like the Giants and the Jets then should both be in that conversation. I'm sorry, I'm saying crazy things. Keep going.
but it's just crazy that like if it weren't for like 1 possession in each game, the Chargers would be like 9-3 or something.
Oh boy.
Um,
Or if
which
they'd started Justin Herbert at the beginning of the year.
But especially with Joe Burrow going down, Herbert pretty much has offensive rookie of the year locked. But yeah, I think that like this is okay. Another team that's really interesting for me is the Rams. Same SoFi Stadium, Los Angeles. They've come out and they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots, or Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Oops, I'm still used to saying Patriots. You know, I'm
Never
kind of
gonna get it out of your head, bro.
yeah. So yeah. They are a top of division, I think, but Jets lost to the Seahawks by a bunch, and 49ers. I think I have not been keeping track this week, actually. I was busy yesterday, so I could not watch any of the games. So this is my bad. But then Bears. Okay, this is something I'd actually like to talk about. The Bears beating the Texans, because we can both talk about the Texans wide receiver situation, and that's what happens when you don't have wide receivers. We can also talk about
Can't make plays.
why is Mitchell Trubisky throwing for like 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns? Jack, you start on this one.
I'm gonna add on to what you said about the wide receiver situation. They had DeAndre Hopkins. They traded him for David Johnson. And then they signed Brandon Cooks, or they traded for him, I don't know. But they got Brandon Cooks. They acquired him. And he's been good. They had Will Fuller. He was having a breakout season. But he unfortunately got suspended. But the fact is that they dropped Kenny Stills right before Will Fuller got suspended. Now, obviously, they didn't know that was going to happen. Unless they did. They might have, But we don't know what happens in offices. But, the fact that they dropped Kenny Stills, although they did drop him because he wasn't a really big role in their offense at this point, and he also had gotten COVID, so they let him go. But the fact that he's not there anymore is going to hurt them for the rest of the season as well as future seasons because although Brandon Cooks is locked up till like 2023, Will Fuller is not, and I don't know what they do without him because he is their second best player on offense. Actually maybe third. Laramie Tunsil is a good offensive lineman, but he's probably a top 5 player on the team. He's probably top 3 in their offense at least. And Deshaun Watson has said it multiple times. He says if they were to have traded Will Fuller, this is just a quote, but all hell would have broken loose if they were to have traded him at the deadline. And he said pretty much the same thing about if they let him walk into free agency. So, but I'm excited. I'm interested to see what the Texans do because of the suspension. But Will Fuller's been a guy I know. I've heard from guys in their team that they've always loved. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But Mr. Trubisky, I don't know about that.
Will Fuller and I feel like the Texans need a coach to come in and just clear house, hit hard rebuild mode, and they're tanking the rest of the way. They're out of the playoffs, and
I would say normally you can wait on a quarterback. Like you don't have to have your quarterback necessarily fit your timeline because, like a lot of quarterbacks, like we've seen Mahomes, Breeze, we've seen people play into their late 30s and play at a very elite level. The thing is with a guy like Deshaun Watson is although he is a good general quarterback, he also relies a lot on his athleticism. And, as your age increases, your athleticism decreases unless he's like LeBron James. If he can keep that up, if he can do what LeBron James does, then, maybe he would fit that timeline. But he is about 24, 25 years old at this point. If they set a hard rebuild, they might not be in contention until he's 30. So they have to think about that.
That's true. You just can't go quarterback in this draft, especially with so many holes.
Yeah, you can.
And this is a pretty deep draft, in my opinion. If you want to see more draft content off season through the NFL, we'll be covering that. But
yeah, that's gonna be big for us. We're gonna be covering a lot of draft stuff. But
also, hint at a future idea, or not future idea, but future video. NBA season starts soon. Just keep an eye out for that one.
That's gonna be a fun
one. But yeah, like you said, like his timeline is huge in the NFL because if you want a good like Super Bowl team, you need a perfect timeline like the Chiefs had or something. Or even like the Patriots had, where everyone was getting older, but everyone was still like in their prime or at the edge of their prime, where they were still performing.
Yeah.
I just think that the Texans need to. They definitely need some change around there. They did fire Bill O'Brien, but I think they need a hard rebuild. On the Bears side of things, Mitch Trubisky needs to go. They need a new quarterback, even though Mitch threw for 3 touchdowns. They need more offenses, or if they had a good quarterback, their wide receivers would be elite, as they have wide receivers making DBs look like silly on the double moves. They just need
Yeah.
to get them there. Any thoughts on the NFL?
I think that the Texans' future might be trading Deshaun Watson
Oh, whoa.
because, like I kind of referred to a few minutes ago, he is in a weird situation where he might fit the timeline, but there's a good chance he doesn't just because his gameplay is revolved around his athleticism. You see him every week. A lot of times with that Texans offensive line, he should get sacked 8 to 9 times a game. But instead, he gets sacked 4 to 5 times a game because he's so elusive in the backfield. He can get out of sacks, and he can just, he doesn't get sacked very often, unless they just, pancake him. But, I don't know how long he can do that for, especially when he's into his 30s, like I said earlier. So I think maybe they trade him while he's still in his I don't even think he's into his prime yet, but you trade him while he's young and while he's still athletic, as he's at his peak athleticism.
Yeah. A comparison to a college quarterback is actually Ian Book for him.
Very
Book,
much so.
if you watch the North Carolina game, there are 4 plays that I can think of where he goes left, goes right, cuts back, does a loop-de-loop, goes up, down, around, and the defense is just on, like the defensive line's on the ground. He pretty much does what Patrick Mahomes did against Miami, just actually successfully and not getting sacked for a 30-yard loss. All right, shots fired. But you're right. He is a master, evasive man. But a trade would be interesting, as that would definitely be just hard to rebuild, just completely. But you do need more than what you got for DeAndre Hopkins, even though
For
DeAndre
sure.
Hopkins is much better.
Absolutely.
And then the question is, where would he go? Does he go
That's a
to
very
someone
good
like
question.
the Bears? And that he
I
actually
can see him going to Chicago. I can see him going to a team like Minnesota.
Oh, that would be a deadly team, actually.
I can see him going to a team like Tennessee, even.
Oh,
I can
even
see him.
Washington, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see exactly. I could see him going to Washington. I could see him going to even New York. The
Washington, New
Giants.
York, maybe Philadelphia, and maybe
Maybe
Dallas.
Philly. Yeah. It depends. I could see him going to the Cowboys if they let Dak, or if they don't get that extension with Dak done. They might have actually already. I don't know. But if they don't get Dak next season, then I can see him going even. If they don't get Dak, I can see him going anywhere in the NFC East. Even a team like the Lions, Matthew Stafford's getting up there in age. Wow, there's a lot of teams. I mean, there's a lot of teams. I feel like there's no really average quarterbacks in the league. There's the really good guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's they're just below
Everyone
average
who
guys.
needs are really good guys.
What?
And then there's really good guys, like you said, and there's all the other teams who need the really good guys.
Exactly. I think Deshaun Watson is in one of those. I think you get in that category. It's Mahomes. Even though Lamar's having a down year, it's Lamar. It's Rodgers. It's Brady still. It's Mahomes. I said Mahomes. It's Wilson. It's Watson. It's
maybe Breeze.
Oh, for sure, Drew Brees.
Yeah, along the
Even
line.
and then there's guys who are rookies who it's they're not obviously stars yet, but they're not average quarterbacks. They're better than average. Like Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind right now. Joe Burrow's been good, really good, even though the Bengals suck. But yeah, there's a few teams they could go to.
The big question is, who wants to trade for him?
And who wants to give up a lot?
Who wants to give up a lot? As whoever is making that trade needs to actually make that trade worth it for the Houston Texans. But that's all for me for this NFL episode. We did talk a lot about just a couple of teams, not really covering the whole league. Well, let us know. Would you like to see us just preview all the games and just go by them really quickly? That might be a longer episode, or just focus on a couple of holes, individual holes, like the Texans. We focus on them a lot, as
We have.
Yeah, they're in one of the worst positions, really, even though they have a pretty good team. No, they have a
And,
good
before we leave, I want to talk about this. I think the team that's most intriguing for a Deshaun Watson trade could be the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins is just not really that good anymore. He's kind of not – I don't know how old he is, but he's really not great anymore. And you think about, well, what if Adam Thielen ends up falling off a cliff and they've got no wide receivers, but they've got Justin Jefferson, who definitely fits, I think, with what Deshaun Watson does, and definitely fits the timeline considering that he's a rookie and Deshaun Watson is young. So now their defense is good, but their defense is also not necessarily young. So they're going to have to figure that out because by the time that they become real contenders, Harrison Smith won't be as good, assuming this takes a few years. Eric Kendricks, Danielle Hunter, I think he's still on the team. It was Everson Griffin that might have gotten traded, but these guys are going to be a little bit farther up there in age, and Xavier Rhodes isn't really good anymore. He was good a few years ago, but their defense doesn't fit great. But that Vikings team could be really, really fun to watch with Justin Jefferson and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, even Dalvin Cook, who is in the same.
Oh my gosh! How did I forget about Dalvin Cook?
As Deshaun Watson.
That would be a crazy offense.
That would be a really fun offense to watch. Also, a really scary offense to play as you keen in on Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs, like top 3 in my list at least.
Kyle Rudolph is still a quality tight end.
Yeah, you keen in on
Irv Smith.
You keen in on Dalvin Cook, then Deshaun Watson will throw to Adam Thielen. You keen in on both of them, then he'll throw to Justin Jefferson. And then if you spread out your forces on them, Kyle Rudolph. If your whole team is on those 4, he'll just take off and run on you. So
exactly.
A great team, great offense at least. That'd be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for me.
It will be the defense if that were to happen. But that's it for us.
So,
hope you enjoyed.
It
was probably like 23, 24 minutes, but
check after the whistle.
After the whistle, I'll once again say it every time. It's always, always linked in the description, and it is in the featured channels, as well as Grand Slam Studios. Check them out, and as well as MLB Productions, which is our friend Max Zangin's channel. He posts highlight videos, mainly White Sox, but he does have a few other things there. He did the MLB award show with us back a few months ago, but that was really fun. Check him out. If you guys want to see us have guests back on once we have everybody through our list that we need to get to, then let us know. Comments are still being weird, so we're sorry. You can always DM the Instagram if you have anything. But that's it for me.
Yep.
We out, boys and girls, but